Picture someone you admire, someone ethical, kind, and compassionate. Now imagine them committing a terrible act. How could this happen? Let's find out. Have you ever wondered what it takes for a kind, compassionate, ethical person to commit acts of cruelty or even become unrecognizable? Imagine someone you trust transforming into a stranger. This isn't an anomaly. It's a recurring pattern in history and human behavior. Today, we'll explore one of the most unsettling questions about human nature. Why do good people sometimes do bad things? By the end of this journey, you'll uncover the mechanisms that push ordinary individuals into darkness, and more importantly, learn how to resist these forces. The last insight will be the most transformative and empowering. We delve into psychological experiments, historical events, and philosophical reflections that expose the thin line between good and evil. This is not just about others, it's a mirror asking, what would I do in their place? Could I too be swayed? Psychologist Philip Zimbardo's Lucifer Effect sheds light on this. In his Stanford Prison Experiment, ordinary people adopted abusive roles, revealing how environment, authority, and social roles can twist even the virtuous into perpetrators of harm. Similarly, Stanley Milgram's obedience experiments showed that individuals, when directed by authority figures, inflicted pain simply because they were told to. History amplifies these lessons. Nazi guards, soldiers committing atrocities, silent bystanders. These were often regular people, swept into circumstances that awakened the darkest parts of human nature. But why does this happen? It's a mix of authority, dehumanization, and group dynamics. Dehumanization, labeling others as enemies or less than, makes cruelty easier. Social roles, as Zimbardo's experiment showed, strip individuality and enforce conformity. Milgram revealed the power of authority to override conscience. Together, these forces shape behavior in workplaces, schools, and communities. However, the tipping point, the moment when a good person crosses the line, is subtle. It starts with small compromises, staying silent, following orders, just this once. Over time, these choices snowball into moral failure. Have you ever made a choice against your values because it felt easier or safer? Reflecting on these moments can help us recognize and resist the forces at play. No one is immune to the Lucifer effect. Under the right or wrong circumstances, we all carry the potential for harm. Psychologist Carl Jung called this the shadow, the repressed, darker parts of ourselves. Acknowledging this shadow, rather than ignoring it, empowers us to act with intention and integrity. Key defenses against these forces include empathy, moral courage, and vigilance. Empathy counters dehumanization by reminding us of our shared humanity. Moral courage, the strength to act ethically despite fear or opposition, is cultivated through reflection and practice. Situational awareness helps us question harmful norms and group dynamics. Yet resistance isn't just personal, it's collective. History shows that leadership and influence can inspire either harm or healing. Consider who you follow and reflect on the influence you exert within your circles. Are you fostering compassion and accountability or enabling harm? Failures are inevitable. When they happen, self-forgiveness is vital. It allows us to learn, grow, and move forward rather than being defined by guilt. Finally, the most transformative realization. The line between good and evil runs through every human heart. This interconnectedness reminds us that just as circumstances can lead to harm, they can also guide us toward extraordinary acts of kindness and courage. So how will you contribute? Will you choose to foster light in a world that desperately needs it? Start small. Speak up against injustice, challenge stereotypes, and cultivate empathy. Together we can resist the forces that divide and destroy, and instead become forces for healing and hope. At the core of these moral contradictions lies our shared humanity. Every person is shaped by a complex interplay of experiences, environments, and choices. Recognizing this complexity doesn't excuse harmful actions, but it allows us to approach human behavior with compassion rather than condemnation. By understanding the pressures and vulnerabilities that lead people astray, we gain the tools to prevent harm and build a world rooted in empathy. One source of hope is our capacity for self-awareness. Human beings have an extraordinary ability to reflect on their actions, learn from their mistakes, and strive for better. History is filled with examples of individuals who made amends for their wrongdoings, transforming their lives and the lives of those around them. This capacity for change is not reserved for a select few. It's a potential within all of us. Another reason for optimism is the power of collective action. While individuals may falter under pressure, communities can create environments that support ethical behavior. By fostering open dialogue, encouraging accountability, and promoting shared values, we can reduce the conditions that lead to harmful actions. Social structures, like restorative justice programs, demonstrate how communities can prioritize healing over punishment, turning moments of moral failure into opportunities for growth. Perhaps the most hopeful aspect of this conversation is the realization that even small acts of kindness and courage can make a difference. When we acknowledge that good people can do bad things, we also acknowledge the reverse. Those who have stumbled can choose to do good again. Redemption stories remind us that no one is beyond hope. In our personal lives, this understanding challenges us to extend grace to others and to ourselves. It's a call to embrace humility, recognizing that we too are fallible. This humility can inspire us to seek wisdom, surround ourselves with supportive influences, and practice the courage to stand by our values even when it's difficult. Ultimately, the paradox of human nature reveals a profound truth. We are neither purely good nor purely bad, but beings with the potential for both. This duality makes us resilient, adaptable, and capable of remarkable transformation. Every choice we make is an opportunity to align closer with our ideals, to heal what has been broken, and to inspire others to do the same. So while the idea that good people can do bad things might seem disheartening at first, it is also a reminder of our collective potential to grow and do better. The story of humanity is one of progress, not perfection. And within that story, there is endless hope.